This is BYU Sports Nation, presented by the BYU Store. Simulcast on BYU TV and BYU Radio. Now live from Studio B, your hosts, Jarom, Jordan, and Dave McCann.
What is good? BYU Sports Nation is live, your day-to-day play-by-play in Studio B, presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere. It is Tuesday, March 29th. Thanks for being here. I'm Jarom Jordan, teamed up with a guy who, like me, didn't make the BYU football alumni roster, Dave McCann.
This is not about us. This is about Blaine.
This show is today.
Blaine has fired his agent, and he's outraged that he was not invited to participate. And I said, Blaine, we're calling the game. We're in the booth. But his heart is still down on the field. So
I feel like you could have done both.
He's day-to-day.
I feel like he could have done both. IFB in as he's passing.
If there's anyone who could, it would be Blaine.
It would be Blaine.
But we'll be up in the booth. You guys will be down on the field.
Yeah.
Thursday night, it's going to be a free-for-all. It's going to be fun on the BYU TV app.
Yeah, David Nixon's going to play in the game. He's not going to be an analyst with us. So we'll tap into what he's seeing during the game, I'm sure.
Yeah, and he's going to be in here in a few minutes. We got a lot of questions for him. It's going to start with the medical clearance form, and then we'll just go from there.
Do you seriously think there's a medical clearance form? I bet there is. I bet there is.
BYU doesn't do anything without an insurance waiver, and this has to be. But the list of the names we'll talk about coming up. It looks like it's going to be a fun night, and it's one of those nights where it doesn't have to happen. But it's going to happen, and we're going to have fun, and that makes it a cool event.
Thursday night, 8:30 Eastern, on the BYU TV app. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. I can't wait. Someone tweeted at me, "Are you serious? Some of these guys can't walk." I was like, I'm not going to name names, but you're right. Okay, here's the show lineup. Taysom Hill no longer an NFL QB, ? What his head coach said yesterday. David Nixon joins us to discuss that and the BYU linebackers in the Alumni game. How comfortable are we with Jacob Conover as a starter if Jaren Hall can't go in a game, if that happens? The latest from Aaron Roderick. In which Cougar football player not named Jaren Hall is a dark horse star this year, according to Pro Football Focus. Let's get after it. Here are today's headlines.
BYU in their final week of spring football practice, offensive coordinator Aaron Roderick saying that Jacob Conover has solidified the backup quarterback position just ahead of Cade Finnegan, but the race is still tight.
Jacob has separated himself a little bit at number 2, but I see Cade and Soljay are improving every day, and I'm still giving them reps. So that's where we stand right now.
We'll discuss Conover more coming up in Trending.
Perhaps the most interesting position on the football team is the backup quarterback, right? It's a fun topic.
Only when there's one key injury.
Exactly. Linebacker Viliami Tausinga has entered the transfer portal. 2018 signee didn't play in a game this past season. He's the 10th player to enter the portal this offseason.
Developing New Orleans Saints head coach Dennis Allen says Taysom Hill's focus this year will be at the tight end position and not at quarterback. Well, much more on that coming up in What's Trending.
I wish we had his brother-in-law in studio today to talk about it. Oh, wait, we do. Baseball hosts Washington State today. Battle of the Cougs. Need some vengeance for the NIT loss, right?
That's right.
Miller Park starting at 3 Eastern on BYU TV app and BYU Radio. Another Pac-12 contest here. I saw you tweeted about the Pac-12.
Yeah, I'm going to share that number coming up.
Exactly.
It's impressive. So is Tylee Williams, WCC Softball Player of the Week for BYU. 8 hits, 6 runs in the Cougar sweep of Iowa State over the weekend. This is her first Player of the Week honor. It's softball's 5th of the season, and Tylee is a spectacular player.
Absolutely. All rise and shout. It's time for What's Trending.
You're talking about it, and so are we. It's What's Trending on BYU Sports Nation.
What's Trending, presented by Tim Daly Nissan, part of the Tim Daly Auto Group, serving Utah since 1968. Okay, New Orleans Saints new head coach Dennis Allen told the media Tuesday, as Dave just mentioned, in Florida at some NFL meetings. I didn't see Andy Reid in the Hawaiian shirt, by the way. Did I miss that? Did that not happen? That normally happens.
He wasn't there if he wasn't in a Hawaiian shirt.
Okay, yeah, he wasn't there then. That Taysom Hill will focus on playing tight end this year. While it doesn't mean Hill won't play any quarterback, it seems like it's a change from what Sean Payton was doing the last couple of years with Taysom Hill. So, Dave, does this mean Taysom's days as a starting quarterback in the NFL are over?
I don't think so, but it does mean that it's not going to happen this fall. The Saints signed Jameis Winston to 2 years. They're going to pay him at least $21 million. Taysom's contract's 4 years. Anywhere between 40 and 95 million, but that depends on the position he plays. So they're saving a lot of money right off the bat if he's not a quarterback. But they've also got it written in there for in the event that he does. Taysom's 7-2 as a starter since 2020. in the NFL. It's not because he can't win games. I think it's because, one, I saw him in a boot playing golf the other day, and he was at pro day walking around without the boot, but he's not healthy yet from his Liz Frank injury. Winston's coming off an ACL, so he's not terribly healthy either. And they went after Deshaun Watson and didn't get him. So I don't think the Saints know what they're going to do at quarterback. But I do think that they do know that he can play tight end, he can play running back, he can play receiver, and he can play quarterback, and he can play special teams and kickoff returner. And they're paying him to be a football player. So I think at this point, Taysom wants to be a quarterback, but he's getting paid to play football, and I think he's probably okay with that.
Would we know Taysom Hill as Taysom Hill in the NFL if he wasn't the gadget guy? I don't know.
America wouldn't. We would know
Right?
because
We
he's
would
our
know.
friend.
But I mean,
America
like-
would have no idea who he is.
Absolutely. I think we undervalue sort of the uniqueness of him. I'm going to say something crazy here. If he continues at this clip and is this unique and can do this at a really high level, he's got a chance at the Hall of Fame in that area of being so unique. He has no shot at the Hall of Fame as a quarterback. No shot. But as a gadget guy, yes. Let's not undervalue what he brings to a team, right? If he didn't say, yes, I will do non-quarterback things, he might not even be in the NFL right now. But he's a tremendous athlete, tremendous dude. We all love him. He's one of the all-time greats here. I'm not sure he'll start another game in the NFL at quarterback because stepdad Sean Payton really liked him.
Yeah.
Now mom's dating someone else, and he doesn't feel the same way, which is, whatever. Whatever Dennis Allen wants to do with Taysom Hill, he can do. He's going to get paid. He's going to be on the team. He's going to be an important piece of
But remember,
that team.
he wasn't the starter last year either. Winston was 6-2, and they got hurt. And
Right.
then Taysom came in. So maybe an injury will open the door.
Right, and maybe that's the way. I'm just wondering if if the Saints don't want him as a quarterback, will someone else? Sean Payton feels like he was the linchpin of, yes, you're a quarterback that also plays other positions, because he feels like he's a gadget guy who also plays quarterback.
Yeah.
Just depends on how the head coach views you.
When Peyton comes back as a head coach, whether it's at the Cowboys next year or whatever, let's see what he does. And if he brings Taysom over, that means he wants a guy who can play 8 positions and he knows how to do it. One thing that we've learned with the Saints is when Taysom isn't healthy, they don't win. When he's playing all his positions, think about they're on their march to the Super Bowl and he gets hurt against the Bears and then they lose. He does just enough to help them win. Now he doesn't go out and score the 5 touchdowns. Drew Brees was spectacular, but when the Saints were cruising along, they had the jack of all trades in there, and it didn't necessarily mean he was a quarterback. It just meant he could be a quarterback, and that freaks defenses out.
Yes, the option of just bringing him in is so unique, right? Like most teams wish they had a Taysom Hill. Like Tim Tebow wishes he was Taysom Hill. You know what I mean? Like Tebow had an unbelievable run in the playoffs that Taysom, did not. But I'm talking about the ability to have some longevity in the league. Like who would have thought in 2014 when we last saw, Taysom Hill in LeVar Edwards Stadium, 2015 he plays at Nebraska, gets hurt. 2016 he plays most of that year. That this guy would be who he is in the NFL. Like he's very polarizing. People either love or hate what happens here, but there's nobody in the history of the NFL like Taysom Hill at this position. It's really unique.
And I think the people that don't like him are the people that get beat by him, and that he's such a nice guy. And you know what? People have a hard time. Yeah. They like the bad guys. They have a hard time going, for example, Tebow. Tebow's a nice guy, and they just can't stand it. Taysom's a nice guy, too. He's a little more reserved than Tebow with some of his personal things. But I think Taysom is a great example of a kid who grew up, went on a mission, came home, went to college, fought through all kinds of injury, and shows that you can still become a multimillionaire in the NFL forever, however long, whether it's 4 more years or 1 more year, or even if he retired today. Yeah. And I just think that is kind of a breakthrough for a return missionary quarterback in the NFL.
To be a 5-year college guy, to fight through all these injuries. Yeah, the Taysom Hill
to be so old and take that old number and go, I am 31 and I'm running over you.
And does it mean, he can play as a starting NFL quarterback at the highest level? That's tough for anybody. Zach Wilson's fighting for that after 3 years at BYU and no mission. But yeah, we'll see what it means. Hopefully he still gets a shot at quarterback.
But Zach's road went in differently. He went in with all the money. Taysom went into Green Bay's camp to try and earn a spot on the roster, and look what he's done.
Had to fight for it.
And
yeah.
so, just a great story. Yep. All right, our second big topic today, separation can be difficult. We know that. It can also be awesome. Quarterback Jacob Conover is the incumbent backup with Baylor. Romney going pro with Adobe, and we wish him the best. He's off to a great season. Offensive coordinator Aaron Roderick says Conover is the number 2 guy right now.
Been here long enough that it's starting to show that he knows what he's doing. You know, he's had in his overall time here a few more reps maybe than Soljay and Cade have, so it just kind of comes with playing. It's just the games seem to be slowing down a little bit for him, and he's a talented guy.
Since 2010, BYU's had 2 seasons where the starter went the distance, 2013 with Taysom and 2020 with Zach, meaning the backup starts a game or more. I talked to Gunnar Romney about Conover, his high school quarterback, and he thinks they'll be just fine. But, Jarom, let me ask you, how comfortable are you with Conover if he ends up starting some games this fall?
I love the idea of Jacob Conover, but certainly we've only seen a half from him. And it was a lot of handing off to Tyler Algier, which it should have been. There were a few passes, a few 3-and-outs, and then Aaron Roderick said, let's go back to what's going to get us a win here. Conover certainly needs time in the offense. He spent the fall of 2020 on the scout squad where Kalani Sitake said, hey, we have a spot for you, but I don't have a scholarship. And he said, are you cool if I take the starting job? That was Zach Wilson's, right? But I love the confidence. Jacob told us last summer on Media Day when there was a quarterback battle that, hey, I've been trying to fight the upperclassmen for the starting job my whole career. I did that in high school, and I'm going to do it here. I think that was a valuable time in 2020. I think last year was valuable for him to be the third string and see 2 upperclassmen go through the ringer there. And now it's his time to be the backup. Certainly we hope we don't see him much, which means Jaron Hall was healthy. But the reality with a quarterback in college and Jaron Hall so far is that there will be a game or 2 or more, who knows, hopefully fewer than more, where Jacob Conover starts a game. I think it depends what game, how comfortable I am.
I don't think anyone should ever be comfortable with the backup. You go on a cruise to sail on the big ship. You don't care about the lifeboats.
Are you okay if the primary pilot of this boat is off and
but look, the other guys could be really, if this plane's going
good.
down, he can, maybe that one's a little more, but think about when Ty Detmer came in. He was the backup to Sean Covey. He came in against Wyoming and threw 5 picks, and we're just like, you've got to be kidding me. This is, and then you fast forward or even go back further. I remember McMahon was hurt, and Steve Young comes in and throws a couple picks. He's running around. He's a left-hander. He takes off out of the pocket too soon. Doesn't wait for his. And all of a sudden, you're like, this is it. We're dead if something happens to McMahon. But when they have their time and their moment, it just seems to be the right guy at the right time moving forward. And if it's not the right guy, then the team really struggles. And we've got some seasons of that. But we've been fortunate to have Baylor Romney as a completely, are you kidding me? Our backup at times was better than our starter. But that's over. And now we're with Jaron Hall, an elite quarterback. And then we got a sophomore and a freshman, which I think is probably like most programs. These guys have a lot of potential, but should we be comfortable? No, we're comfortable with the main guy. That's why he is the main guy. We can get comfortable with these guys, and we hope we don't have to see him too soon.
It depends what game, I think, for me.
Yeah.
If he's thrown in against Baylor, the Big 12 champs, that's a tough ask. At Oregon, Notre Dame, Arkansas, those games are tougher. Yet we've seen Baylor Romney as the third string in 2019 comes in, beats number 14 Boise State, changes the direction of the program as the third string. So maybe what Jacob needs is an opportunity. That's what backups seek, but we'll see.
And the supporting cast around whoever it's going to be is phenomenal this year.
Really good on offense.
And so maybe it won't be as noticeable as we might think.
If Christopher Brooks is good, if the O-line is great, if the receivers are really good to great. And by the way, you used the E word with Jaron Hall. I'd like to discuss that another time at length. I think he's on the cusp.
I got it from his offensive coordinator, so it just stuck with me. That's what he believes.
I want Aaron to believe he's in
absolutely
the E word. Yeah, I don't use it in vain. Our question of the day: do you believe Taysom Hill will start another game at quarterback in the NFL? Let's get to your responses in Voice of the Nation.
This is the Voice of the Nation on BYU Sports Nation.
Jonathan Hodgson on Twitter. Taysom will only start another game for New Orleans in an emergency situation if he gets traded to a different team. I could see him starting a quarterback. Good news is Taysom is a football Swiss Army knife and can make an impact and have success at several different positions. That's the question. Is he going to be the backup, or are they going to take him out completely? We're not exactly sure. And is there another stepdad like Sean Payton that likes him, or is it Sean Payton at another team next year?
There's a lot of good dads out there.
I'm not watching that Netflix movie with Kevin James as Sean Payton, by the way. On the kids, I am not.
You won't go there, huh?
No, I'm not going to go there. Absolutely. Continue to weigh in on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Let me tell you where we are going to go. Forecasting the home opener against the Baylor Bears. Is BYU primed to pull off an upset?
And if he's not already, he should be. David Nixon needs to be stretching for Thursday, probably starting about today.
Look at him.
Getting ready for the alumni. Yeah.
He just came from his doctor.
In our next segment, David Nixon coming up. This is BYU Sports Nation.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by the Tim Daly Auto Group, serving Utah since 1968.
When BYU made such a difference in our lives, I think really helped mold us as to who we are. And so when we had that opportunity and came back to Boise and found out there was an active chapter, we thought, okay, that's something that I can really get behind and get involved in.
We want to promote the BYU experience all over the region. We want people who leave BYU to still stay connected.
BYU Food to Go's convenient location at 2191 North Canyon Road in Provo makes bringing popular BYU foods to your next event easy. Everything's ready when you need it at the drive and load pickup. You drive in and they load no matter the weather. And stop in the on-site creamery for great BYU chocolate milk and ice cream. BYU Food to Go, bringing campus to your table. Call for details, 801-422-5001.
Uh-oh. Do you not know the groom's name?
I missed it on our first date, and it's way too late to ask.
Whenever you experience something funny, the first thing you want to do is, share it with your loved ones. Seeing that comedy, helped us through things, we want to use that to help other people in a way.
We had one kid whose make-a-wish was to come to Studio C. It made me be, these goofy sketches mean a lot to people.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
They plan to be with us Thursday night for the BYU football alumni game. Former Cougar quarterbacks Max Hall, Kevin Federick. David Nixon will be in there as well. Back at LaVell Edwards Stadium one more time. Thursday, 8:30 Eastern Time, our coverage begins on the BYU TV app. Blaine and I'll call the action with Spencer and Jarom down on the sidelines. We're still trying to negotiate if we can get a mic on Nixon.
Yeah,
like we should be.
Yeah, his agent's being real tough with us. We're live in Studio B with your day-to-day BYU Sports play-by-play. Jarom Jordan, Dave McCann. David Nixon is here, who's going to play in the game. Now, what went into this decision to commit to playing this game?
I'll answer that with another question. What am I doing? I mean, what am I doing?
We've wondered that for some time.
You know what? David Almodovar reached out and said, hey, you want to play in this? And at first I was like, yeah, just, a little game. And all of a sudden, it started to gain a little bit of momentum, a little bit of steam. All of a sudden, people are posting these pictures of committed. I'm like, wait, this is getting a little serious. Videos have now since surfaced of my quarterback on my team, Max. He's doing drills with Ty Detmer. He's ready.
Pretty good.
So naturally, this morning I put on some cleats, went over to Corner Canyon High School where, I live right by there, ran some drills, and I don't think I'm ready, but I will be there. I will be there, and I'll be ready to play.
But you and Keel coach your boys' Little League team.
Yeah.
Have they given you any advice for this one?
They'll be there. Our kids will be there.
Yeah.
So I might have to tap out and have my little boy come in and play for me because he's a lot better at one-hand, two-hand touch than I am. But
yeah, I was going to say it's one-hand touch.
Yeah.
One-hand touch. What it is going to be, it might be completely unnecessary, but it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It could be. This could be a one-and-done type experiment. But listen, for me, it's always fun to get together these alumni days because beyond just the game, it's an alumni day for all the alumni to come back. And there's some of us that are playing in the game that are not as intelligent as the others. But it'll be fun. It's always fun to see the guys, and whether you play with them or whether they were years before you. We talk about, right, the Band of Brothers, this brotherhood that BYU football has. And it's fun to welcome these kids that just finished these last few years into that brotherhood as well. So it'll be a fun day all around.
I think we can, it's not confirmed, but Provo City is called Payson, Springville, Spanish Fork, American Fork, and PG. Every ambulance that will be available in Utah Valley will be outside Lavelle Edwards Stadium. On Thursday night.
I'm telling you, I went and worked out this morning, and I did a long stretch of the hammies. I mean, the hammies are good. It's the rest of the body. We'll see about the hip flexors. Those might be the next things to go.
Okay, some news just broke from Adam Schefter. The Saints are signing Andy Dalton to a one-year deal worth $6 million, including $3 million guaranteed. Let's talk about Taysom now.
Yeah.
So obviously Dennis Allen says he's going to focus on tight end. I made the comparison to stepdad Sean Payton really liked Taysom as a stepson, right? What does this mean for Taysom in the quarterback situation, in your opinion? Obviously with Jameis, and now they're signing Andy. It feels like Dennis Allen's going away from Taysom as a quarterback?
Yeah, I'll say it's a pretty fluid situation. And, having talked to Taysom, I think he's taking it all in stride right now. Listen, this is a guy who has played every position. I mean, it's not like this is something new for him. He's been the most selfless player out there. He's put his body at risk. But at the end of the day, his stats don't lie. 7-2 as a starter. I don't know what else you want. 3 of those wins being against your divisional opponent, the Falcons. And so he's done what they've asked him to do. Obviously, you get a new head coach coming in, and he wants to go a different direction. But I think Taysom will be ready to, whether it's tight end, whether it's running back, whether it is to come in and play more quarterback. I know that's not off the table. But as of right now, it sounds like he wants to put him in the tight end position. Taysom will learn that position. But, it's, as you mentioned, we'd heard maybe some rumblings of this happening with Dalton, and there it is announced. And so I think right now there's a lot of stuff going on that he's kind of just trying to sort through it all.
I think the Dalton signing screams the fact that Winston is coming off an ACL and Taysom's coming off a Liz Frank, and he's getting evaluated even this week. I saw him in a boot playing golf the other day, and then we saw him at Pro Day without a boot on. He is getting better, but if the Saints have mini camp next week, it looks like the only quarterback will be Andy Dalton that they signed today because neither are ready to go.
Yeah, I think they still got Ian Book, who was a 4-stringer that played a little bit as well. But, they lost Trevor Siemian in the offseason. In fact, I think he went with the Bears. So this is a little swap between Dalton and Siemian. But, listen, Taysom's under contract. His foot is coming along really well. In fact, he's out there with the doctors right now getting his foot looked at. So I think he's on target. He's progressing well. That's the whole point of this offseason. He knows the offense. The offense coordinator didn't change, even though the head coach did change. And so he's familiar with the offense. It's not like he needs to be there to get reps. He's had plenty of reps. It's like I said, it's a very fluid situation. So I think even he's kind of looking to see what's happening. But ultimately, he still wants to be a quarterback, and he's proven that he can be a quarterback. The Saints are signing other quarterbacks that maybe say differently, but we'll see how it all plays out.
It solidifies the two most powerful words in all of professional sports: guaranteed money.
Yeah, and this it's funny too, right? Taysom signed that contract before his injury as well, and so you think about the timing of that, and that's why agents, if talks start, they jump on those fast because you never know with injuries what's going to happen. Right. So, Taysom could not have timed his contract any better than he did, he's pretty set up in that way.
I think there's some Jimmer Fredette analogy with Taysom here. I think that we wanted something so bad for Jimmer that we didn't appreciate just who or what he was in a certain space. So Taysom, yes, we want him to be the successful starting quarterback in the NFL. I think his legacy will be that he was so versatile. And I said, I don't think he has a shot at the Pro Football Hall of Fame as an NFL quarterback, but as a gadget guy, as a Swiss Army knife, which it almost feels like it's something. Yes. No, I said Tim Tebow wishes he was Taysom Hill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That in the end, his legacy will be his versatility, and we should appreciate that, not keep scratching at maybe something that isn't under his control, which is to be an NFL starter.
Well, and it's something that all his players, all his teammates respect him for it. I've heard stories of him going and playing other teams, and big-time stars come up to him and say, hey, I love what you do, right? I mean, nobody in the league can do what Taysom does.
Right.
Has anybody ever done it? I don't think so, right?
And I think that's what's so unique about him. Like you said, that's something maybe he'll go down in history for, is the fact that you're able to play all those positions and excel at all those positions, score touchdowns at all those positions, and something that no other player has been able to do, including special teams. I mean, you look back at his career and everything he's done, and that just goes to point, once again, I go back to what I said initially, he's a selfless player, and he'll do whatever he has to do for this team. And if that means playing tight end, he'll do it. I mean, I know he wants to play quarterback, but he's swallowed his pride before, and he'll do it again.
And the magic of Taysom, and we all follow football. I can't tell you the quarterbacks for half the teams as they sit right now in the NFL. But every football fan, every NFL football fan knows who Taysom Hill is.
Well, and for us, it's always fun because I go to a lot of the games there at the Superdome. And I'm telling you, every year and every game we go to, there's more and more number 7 jerseys walking around. And the fans absolutely love him there because they see his passion. They see what he brings to the table and the spark that he brings. I remember against the Bears, the playoff game, he came in, it was a couple years ago, and the whole arena was dead. You know, they were losing. He comes in and all of a sudden just rattles off a couple passes, a couple big runs, and all of a sudden just sparked his energy into his team. And that's what he does. I mean, and that's why I think his teammates rally around him as well, and they respect him because they realize how hard it is to do that. How hard it is to line up a tight end, down block on some of the best defensive ends in the whole NFL, and all of a sudden go back and be a quarterback and throw a bomb 60 yards. I mean, that's unprecedented.
And stay in the game when you punt and go down and make the tackle. And if the team scores, you get to return the kickoff.
It's unbelievable, and that's why I almost wonder at what point do we. It feels like when you think less of this idea that it's not working out. It's okay to appreciate someone for who they actually are. Like if we just sat here and diagrammed Jimmer's NBA career, it's like it wasn't what he was. A tremendous player who didn't play in the NBA. That's okay. Scoring 70+ in China multiple times, college basketball Hall of Famer in the future. Like that's awesome. Let's appreciate who he is, not what we want him to be that he may not be. That's okay.
Well, and who knows if this is, if Taysom does go to tight end, you guys alluded to it earlier with Sean Payton.
He's going to coach
Taysom
somewhere.
and Sean are good friends. I know they text.
Yeah.
There might be an opportunity down the road for him to go join a team if Sean joins a team, if Sean comes back from retirement. So who knows if this is the end, right? This is just now. It's like, hey, get in there now. Do what you need to do now. And maybe there are injuries. Maybe Winston doesn't come back. Maybe Andy Dalton gets dinged up or doesn't play well. I mean, Taysom's been there, done that. They know what they have in Taysom as a quarterback. So now I think they're trying to find ways to get him on the field because he is so effective.
Don't you think Robert and I somewhere is thinking, why didn't I do that? I just ran him to death. I could have thrown him passes. We could have had him on special teams. We could have had him play all 11
Christian Stewart's
positions.
like, yes, I could have thrown more. Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Put me in.
No, I think it was used effectively. It was great. Let's talk linebackers. So obviously Peyton Wilgar and Keenan Peely are sitting out in the spring, getting ready to be healthy this fall. Those are two really solid guys. Ben Bywater got a ton of run as a walk-on, played pretty effectively at times, right? Max Tooley, a solid guy as well. What do you think of that group?
I still think they're strong. I go back to last year before the season started, and I thought they were one of the stronger linebacker corps in college football. Injuries, obviously the injury bug at BYU, and there's one thing we learned from last year, especially with the linebackers, you got to have depth. And I think that's what they're working on right now with spring is getting that depth built up behind these backers in case one does go down with injury. Obviously, we hope not. But you bring all these guys back, and yes, they are coming off some injuries and some dings, which always happens with every football season. But I love, if you look at down below, the games that were played, and Ben Bywater coming off as a freshman and what he's able to do. Peyton Wilgar, who I think his instincts are unmatched. And then, of course, Peely, the way that he's able to swarm to the ball and he's able to track the ball, assuming he comes back all healthy. I'm excited for this BYU team. But with this schedule, they've got to create depth. I mean, you have to be able to rotate guys in, especially with how this defense rotates guys in. We've seen how much they rotate in, which, by the way, I don't know how much I agree with that. Brian Kill and I talk about this all the time. If we had to rotate in that much, I don't know.
You'd have been exhausted by the time you get to the huddle.
I don't get it. I prefer just to stay on the field and maybe tap out every once in a while, but they have a different philosophy and it's working for them.
If these three, and I talked to Wilgar at Pro Day, and he said both he and Peely are way ahead of their health comeback, and they're going to be cleared here shortly. Full camp, ready to go against South Florida. But Bywater, who's huge, this offseason has been great for him. But Wilgar, Peely, and Bywater, they stay healthy. How about that trio and how it stacks up against trios like you had and some of the great ones at school?
Yeah, I think you go back to if they stay healthy, right? Yeah. I mean, this is a squad. I will say this. These teams during independence, especially this coming year, are playing schedules much more difficult than we did. The grind from week to week, you just don't have the breaks in there like we did to all of a sudden be done by halftime, right? Or the third quarter, we're sitting out the fourth. These guys are having to grind through a whole game. So it makes it tough. But to your point, legacy-wise, they're playmakers. I mean, these guys have bona fide speed. They can run from sideline to sideline. And so I love everything about this core. They just got to stay healthy. And that's the biggest thing, because we saw BYU at the end of the year last year. You're down to second, third. We had walk-ons playing and starting at linebacker. And so health is the number one thing. And that's why, no reason to rush them back. They've had plenty enough game reps. They know the defense. No reason to rush them back. Give them some time and get them ready for fall ball.
How many passes are you going to pick off from Kevin Federick on Thursday?
Listen, I'm not going for interceptions or tackles. I'm going for just
pure. There is no tackling.
If this ruins my golf game moving forward, if something happens and I can't golf the rest of the summer, I'll be very frustrated. So I'm just trying to preserve my health.
Oh yeah,
that's a win. That's a net win at the end of the day.
Take it easy.
Yeah.
The best ability
take it easy.
is availability. Exactly. Thanks, David.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Coming up, filling the shoes of BYU's all-time single-season rushing leader. That's the task of Cal transfer Chris Brooks. We're going to hear from him straight ahead.
And will Puka Nacua be the best NFL draft prospect on BYU's roster this time next year? We'll discuss. This is BYU Sports Nation.
Tim Daly Ford in Spanish Fork sells Ford vehicles including the F-150, the pickup designed for work and play. Tim Daly Ford maintains a large inventory, providing more choices for selecting an F-150 with the power and engineering to carry and tow heavy loads. The F-150's design offers comfort, safety, and a range of options to choose from. Think Ford. Think Tim Daly Ford in Spanish Fork.
Hi, Spencer Linton here, letting you know when your company joins the BYU team as a corporate partner, your brand can be featured in sports programming on BYU TV and BYU Radio. In addition to all of the great games, you can be part of the BYU coaches shows, place your message in Countdown to Kickoff, basketball pre- and post-game shows, and each weekday on BYU Sports Nation. We invite your team to join ours and become a corporate sponsor of BYU Athletics. For details, email sponsorship@byu.edu today.
When my grandfather started this company in 1947, he couldn't have envisioned what we would ultimately become. We realized that our value to our customers is that we will be there day after day, year after year, doing whatever we need to find solutions to the challenges that they face. We are committed to be honestly better in all that we do, in every opportunity that we have to serve our customers.
Turn TV time into together time with the BYU TV app. Watch all your favorite shows when, where, and how you want.
This isn't like a practical joke, is it?
No, sir. Immerse yourself in stories with all the feels. Go on uninterrupted journeys of discovery and see families coming together while watching with your own. See new and original content, all for free on the BYU TV app.
BYU Sports Nation is brought to you by Maersk, enabling global trade for a growing world.
There it is, Miller Park, BYU baseball back in action against Washington State. That's at 3 Eastern time on the BYU TV app with me and Gary Scheide on the call. When you combine football, baseball, men's and women's basketball, women's volleyball, and soccer, BYU is 17-1-1 against the Pac-12 and 6-0-1 against Utah. 17-1-1 against the Pac-12 this season. Is there any other word but dominance that applies here?
No, that's incredible. And NFL breaking news, more of it. Both teams will get the ball in overtime in the playoffs now. That's good. Regular season stays the same, though. So it's crappy in the regular season. Then they get it right
Buffalo,
in the playoffs.
Buffalo, our heart goes out to you.
Yeah, Josh Allen's like, what? Now you say that? Let's whip it. Cougar Whiparound is presented by Maersk, your integrated container logistics company enabling global trade for a growing world.
Bleacher Report released their way too early college football upset picks for 2022, and they listed BYU beating Baylor as one of their longest shots upset picks. Would BYU beating Baylor here in Provo be a long shot upset?
I don't know that it's a long shot. Certainly beating a Power 5 champ. BYU did that against Utah last year, so it's not that difficult. But, at home, I think that's going to be fun because BYU, I think, is going to be a top 25 team itself in that game.
I think we expect BYU to win that game in a tight one.
In our super biased opinion, absolutely. Saturday Blitz.
BYU TV, right?
SaturdayBlitz.com released an article with the headline, Jaron Hall may be the best quarterback no one's talking about. Is he?
Well, Aaron Roderick's talking about it. Other people aren't. And he believes, and he told me that he believes that Jaron will be the talk of the country this coming football season. And is an elite quarterback. And that's the offensive coordinator.
There's the E word.
Now, he says that on camera, and he says it off camera, so you know it's legit.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes he'll say, yeah, and it's like, okay, I got to get this thing. No, he's all in on Jaron Hall. And every player I've talked to at camp, every receiver and running back can say, Hall is so good now and so ready for the season.
There weren't a lot of moments, hardly anywhere, where we were like, I don't know. He was fantastic. Decision-making amazing. 20 picks, 5 touchdowns. 20 touchdowns, 5 picks. Big difference.
Stay healthy. Have a good time.
PFF said 18th best offensive rating in the country. Oh, that's amazing. That tells me a lot right there.
They also tweeted out 6 college wide receivers who are dark horse stars for 2022. Puka Nacua is on the list. Okay. Will Puka be the best draft prospect for BYU at this time next year?
It's a good question. If Jaron Hall truly is elite, it'll be Jaron Hall. But it might be Peyton Wilgar. It might be Blake Freeland. Blake Freeland's the off-the-radar guy who could be a big-time draft pick next year. So we'll see. Kingsley Suamataia, a year after that. He's got to be in school 3
The top 2 projected picks for this year's draft are linemen, a defensive lineman and an offensive lineman. That's who teams need. So I think it'll be an offensive lineman. But among the nation's elite receivers, Puka Nacua will be there.
100%. I expect a 1,000-yard year. Yeah. I expect a huge year from him. BYU announced the rosters for the Alumni game Thursday on the BYU TV app. Head coach Kalani Sitake is on the Royal team. Are they obligated to try and get him a touchdown?
I think it'll be a screen pass in the end zone with nobody around him so that he can catch it and spike it. You know who's on the roster? James Dye, playing for the Royal team.
That's fun.
And if there's a punt, you know the saying, you punt, you die. That could happen Thursday night.
It's James Antrek, which is super fun.
That's must-see TV.
Jamal Willis is there. Spencer Need. Aaron Roderick himself at wide receiver. Is he going to dial up a play for himself? I'm excited. Yes, they are obligated to get
Rob Freight Train Morris. Have they convinced Rob you can't hit anybody?
I see Rob on there. Yeah. Will we hear a freight train whistle?
Touch, Rob.
He's gonna get a pick 6 and do a snow angel in the end zone and get a penalty.
I still have one of those wooden whistles around. I have to bring that. That's gonna be good. Speaking of the alumni rosters, defensive coach Preston Hadley apparently left off the roster with the initial announcement, and so he decommitted for the alumni game, and then he recommitted shortly thereafter. So is he playing with an extra chip on his shoulder?
Yes.
Look at this. These are his posts.
Plenty of Doritos will be sitting there on his labrum. Yes, absolutely. He will be playing with a chip on his shoulder.
It's going to be fun.
I saw that last night. I was like, what's going on here? BYU's been blessed with amazing coaches in multiple sports for 20-plus years, namely Jeff Judkins with women's hoops, Jennifer Rockwood with women's soccer. Judkins confirmed to us this morning that he's back next year. Yep. How many more years will we see these coaches around?
I don't know. We're playing with house money.
Seriously.
And throw Gordon Eakin's name in there, too, with 20th year in softball. BYU is in a unique place. They've got veteran coaches dealing with young players. Some of them have coached their parents. And the athletes on campus today are probably, as a whole, better than any group we've ever had. So whatever it is working between this generation and this generation, BYU's got to hope it stays together for a long, long time. And at least another year for Jeff Judkins.
Yes. And Jen on the Deep Blue podcast, it sounded like, who knows, she's been taking it year to year for a while now. Incredible year.
We talked to her the other day at practice because they come into the indoor facility after football leaves. And it's like she's 25 years old, excited about this roster. And we're like, this person's not hanging it up.
Yeah, she's not going away anytime
People love to
soon.
win. These coaches win. Makes it fun.
Keep it going.
Uniforms have been selected for the alumni game. And they're going to go with the 1996 Royal and Navy throwbacks, posing the question, should they have brought the bibs back for the alumni game?
Only one bib, and for Rob Morris. And Kevin Federer. That would have been awesome.
Some of these guys are so old they should have bibs. You know, the uniform bibs.
Oh, the uniforms.
But they're not coming back. They're our age. They're my age. You're still young.
Yeah, I thought you meant something.
It's going to be a great meeting of the minds. So we'll have Royal and Navy on the field. And I'll give you a teaser. They're using all 100 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah. The rules have come down to us. 100 yards will be involved. That means Nixon at some point is going to have to run back and forth.
53 yards sideline to sideline.
We'll see how that goes.
It's going to be brutal.
Coming up, get your diapers ready to support today's Rise and Shout Out.
We got bibs and diapers. What's going on here?
It's a family show.
And how good is BYU's offensive line? Running back Chris Brooks tells Jason Shepard what he thinks. This is BYU Sports Nation.
Utah is a special place. Our communities, the people, the history. There is no place quite like Utah. At Siegfried and Jensen, we're honored to say that we are from Utah. We live here, work here, and when someone is injured, we're proud to say we've helped a neighbor when they've needed it most. We know Utah. At Siegfried and Jensen, we're here for you. Call us today.
Couture luxurious blanket. Getting cozy with family and friends. A gift for everyone. Minky Couture, official luxury blanket of BYU Athletics.
The race is on. Go! 4 teams powered by faith and driven to find family, with only their teammate, paper maps, and inspiration to guide them.
Where are you?
The contestants race for the ultimate prize.
I am one step closer to knowing who my father is.
The chance to meet their blood relatives and discover more about who they are. Relative Race, driving families together. Watch Season 9 on BYU TV or on the free app.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
Thursday softball doubleheader, BYU and New Mexico from Gale Miller Field. You can see it at 7 Eastern. Game 1 and then Game 2, all on the BYU TV app.
Oh, an old WAC and Mountain West game. Here we go.
Friends together again.
Yeah, frenemies. Let's go. Welcome back to BYU Sports Nation, live from Studio B. Jarom Jordan, Dave McCann. With Tyler Algier off to the NFL, BYU turned to the transfer portal for an impact replacement in the form of Cal transfer Christopher Brooks. Jason Shepard begins with a look at spring ball with the Bear-turned-Cougar.
Take me through how the last couple of weeks have been. I know you're starting to get towards the end of spring practices. How has it gone, maybe overall first, and then specifically with you?
Overall, it's been smooth. You know, this offense is fast. You know, they play smash mouth football. You know, everybody's quick. The line gets off the ball. So overall, you know, it's been productive. Me personally, you know, I've just been trying to work each and every day to just build on and, you know, make a new mistake, you know, never make the same mistake over and over, you know, and just build on what I did and stack the days. And so that's really how I've been, you know, I've just been stacking the days and just improving, you know, each one.
How comfortable do you feel in this offense already? And at what point did it become maybe a little more instinctual than trying to think about it all the time?
I feel pretty comfortable right now, you know, just like all the other guys who've been here. You know, at the point it came instinctual would probably be about week two-ish, because we did PRPs, you know, we prepared for this. And so the coaches did a great job in preparing me, and so I feel pretty comfortable.
What's been the feedback you've received from coaches and teammates? Because obviously everybody's excited to have you in the fold. They know what you bring to the table. What kind of feedback have you gotten?
I haven't really gotten any feedback Really, I mean, just keep on playing hard, keep on just playing fast. I don't think I'm gonna be able to like fully show what I got until, you know, we play tackle. But, you know, everybody just been saying, you know, keep playing fast, keep playing physical.
So take me through what the running back room is like when you guys get together, not just on the field, but off the field when you're together. What's the room like?
Me and Miles are for sure the jokesters. Cheese is more like the adult type. Peony, old head.
Old head?
Old head. So he's like the old head of the room. Austin Bell and Bo, they're kind of like the two brothers, the youngins. And then Mason, he's kind of just, he's a own, very funny, you know, very soft guy. Who am I missing? Folau, he's the demigod. So he's the one who, like, if you look at him, he takes his shirt off. He probably looks stronger than The Rock. He probably benches, like, the most in the nation. And, yeah, I think it hit everybody.
So do you guys hang out as a group off the field, or do you guys kind of have your own little cliques? Like, who do you hang out with when you're not on the field?
Well, I live with Houston, so I'm usually, you know, just doing things with him. But the guys will come over to my house all the time because I live in a pretty big house, and we'll all just, like, hang out, you know, and just eat some dinner.
What else do you guys do? What do you do when you try to relax and get away from football?
I'll probably watch some TV. I like to bowl. What else do I like? I like to eat food.
Favorite food is what?
Orange chicken and rice. I've been trying to eat healthier, you know, so, I mean, orange chicken and rice is, like, super good. That's been my favorite for a long time. Yeah, that's about it.
Have you, to this point, accomplished, or are you at the point where you wanted to be after joining the program?
I am, but I think that there's a lot of money left on the table, and I think that with each and every day, you know, there's something to build on and just to get better, take it day by day.
What's this offensive line like to run behind? Give everybody an idea, because this has been a strength and it's been building year after year, yeah. This offensive line. What's it like right now?
Probably the best in the country, yeah. Yeah, probably the best in the country. This offensive line, yeah, they're freaky. They're freaky good. Yeah, that's all the people. They want to know something, yeah, just let them know that. That's what they need to know. Yeah, they're freaky good, they're fast, they're physical, and athletic.
The offense in general, you know, we know how prolific the offense can be. You've seen it over the last couple of years under Coach Roderick. What are your own expectations for what the offense can be this year?
My own expectations is just to be selfless, to make every block, and make sure that the other 10 guys can play fast and that I can just do my part. 1 of 11, you know, that's my expectation.
I know you've talked about, you know, feeling pretty comfortable here. What has your overall experience been here at BYU in Provo and, you know, just over the last couple of months?
It's been a great experience. You know, I think that this place has made me better as a man and as an athlete, and I think that overall it's positive, you know, and I love it here.
What was it that actually brought you here in terms of what piqued your interest? Because I know that you had been here in 2018 when Cal came in. You didn't play in that game, but I know that you were here, so you've seen this, but certainly not to this level. What piqued your interest?
I say the philosophy. You know, each program has their own philosophy and the way they do things, and here is just the best fit for me and how I am.
How excited are you for August when fall camp starts and then ultimately game 1?
Oh, pretty excited, but, you know, it all starts out here day by day. Yeah.
Look at that. See, he's already ready. Look, and you look good, too. You said just in case your future wife may be watching, there you go.
Hey, thank you. If my future wife, you're out there, hey, please come to me now. You know, I'm waiting.
He's waiting.
He's come to the right place.
He's ready to have a breakout year, Dave. With this O-line, and Aaron Roderick is a really good offensive play caller. This could be do you expect 1,000 yards from him?
Oh, yeah. I do.
Yeah.
And he's got to stay healthy to get there, but look what's around him. It's just tailor-made for – and every receiver wants him to get 1,000 yards because it means less guys defending them down the field. I was over at practice the other night listening to him talk smack with everybody, and I'm going, this isn't a guy that just joined this program. This is a guy that's been here forever. He has settled in. They love this guy, and they're going to block for him. And I think I asked Tyler Algier about him, and he gave him a thumbs up. He goes, this guy's a baller. He's going to be great.
Fantastic.
And that's the guy he's trying to replace. And Algier is awesome, and right now he's the #1 name atop the single-season rushing record at BYU. But this guy is going to make some inroads where midway through the season we might be going, let's see, he might be as good as Algier.
That could be awesome because the reason BYU wins 10 games last year, the number one reason to me is because Tyler Algier and the O-line are incredible.
Right, and even a couple of games they lost, he still ran for 200 yards.
Right?
Yeah, like the bowl game.
He gave BYU a couple wins where maybe they wouldn't have. Utah State and Washington State come to mind, where in the second half you needed Algier to be amazing, and he was.
191 yards at Washington State, 2 touchdowns, and I can't remember, but I think it was like 34 carries. And
yes, it was a really high number.
And he could have kept going. You know, it was he. I remember. You remember he got that first down to end the game. And he just laid on his back and threw his hands out like I gave you everything I had.
I'm so tired.
This game is over.
Yeah.
But you know, if they needed a few more yards, the guy's a machine. And for a walk-on, one of the greatest stories in the history of BYU football.
So good.
Yeah.
Ziggy's probably number one. Tyler's way up there too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Incredible.
Coming up, the top 5 Tuesday focus. The top 5 women athletes in BYU history.
And DBs and diapers are the focus of today's Rise and Shout Out. If you don't know, we'll tell you what that means. This is BYU Sports.
I'm dying to find out myself.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by Delta Airlines. Keep climbing.
Trio Orem Senior Living believes in empowering seniors to live life to the fullest. We help eliminate stress out of daily life when you live at Trio. Less time focusing on housework means you can socialize at one of our many events, with safety in mind, of course. And did we mention our spacious apartments with modern amenities? Learn more about setting up a private tour at trioorem.com.
Dexter & Dexter is a full-service law firm offering a wide range of legal services. Since 1995, we have helped more than 20,000 Utahns both to navigate life's challenges and to make the most of life's opportunities. From car accidents to business law, from divorce to estate planning, we are passionate about shouldering your burdens. To learn more about scheduling a no-obligation consultation, visit dexterlaw.com.
4 expert builders have been given.
Now this is entertainment. Kind people working hard.
Those power tools really stress me out.
Back in my day, we didn't have power tools. We had sticks, stones, and polio.
Great. Now I'm thinking about polio.
I've had it 3 times.
Oh no.
Andy is new this season.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Very capable and very big-hearted.
It's so amazing to be a part of this. I mean, to travel around the world and learn so much from others while we can participate in their goals in meaningful ways.
Yeah, we like to tease her.
You know, it's natural, though, being the new girl and all.
Yeah, she hit the ground running.
Yeah, she did.
I hope the show can inspire others to get involved and open their eyes to the people around them.
Yeah, she looks small, but she's super tough.
Doesn't like snakes, though.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by Mountain America, the official credit union of BYU Athletics.
Jen Rockwood, hopefully around for a long, long time. BYU Sports Nation is always available on demand via the free BYU TV and BYU Radio app.
Or download the podcast. Just Google BYU Sports Nation podcast. And please subscribe, rate, and review the show.
Time for Top 5 Tuesday, presented by Delta Airlines. Today we are counting down the top 5 women's athletes in BYU history. It is Women's History Month.
At number 5, we begin with Lele Fono'i Moana. She was a swimmer for BYU from 1976 to 1979, won 11 All-American awards, set 5 school records in the 50, 100, 200-meter butterflies, and in the 100 and 200 individual medley. In the 1976 Quebec Olympics, she earned a silver medal as a member of the second-place USA team in the 4x100-meter medley relay. Congratulations. Number 5.
That's awesome. Number 4, Tina Gunn Robinson. She played at BYU, women's hoops, 76-80. Led the nation in scoring, 31 a game. Still a BYU record. That's going to be hard to beat. She also holds the BYU record for career points, rebounds, scoring average, rebound average. She had a 56-point game, All-American as a senior. Shayla Gonzalez has a shot at the scoring record next year because, or in 2 years, because she's going to have a 5th year. That's the only shot.
That's right.
At Tina Gunn Robinson.
Tina could have been a little higher on this list. At number 3, Dylan Duncan, Sirianni, who shined for the volleyball team from 1984 to 1988, broke the career kill record for all NCAA divisions with 2,188, holds the career record for kills, attempts, aces, solo blocks, block assists, total blocks, and points. Congratulations, Dylan, in at number 3.
Fantastic. She's amazing. Number 2, Olympian Tiffany Lott Hogan. She was on the track team from 94 to 98, broke the NCAA and world records in the 55-meter hurdles. That is fast, by the way, 55-meter hurdles. You start and then you're done in like 3 seconds, it feels like. She won 2 national championships in the heptathlon, 8 outdoor All-American track honors, 2 indoor All-American honors, competed in the heptathlon in the 04 Athens Olympic Games.
Top athlete goes to Shauna Roebuck, who was a multi-sport athlete at BYU, soccer team, track team, 1995, 1998. Holds the BYU record for career goals with 94. The next closest has 52. They've had some great players lately and still not close to 94. Her 35 goals in the 96 season, third most by any woman in a single season in NCAA history. 8th on the NCAA all-time goals list. All-American in the outdoor track heptathlon as well. Following her BYU career, she won a silver medal in the 2006 Olympics in the 2-women event bobsled and became a soldier in the U.S. Army National Guard. Number 1, Shauna Roebuck.
Top 5 women athletes at BYU. One time I talked to Shauna up in Park City. She was getting ready or just training or coaching. And then she introduced me to the Jamaican bobsled coach from Cool Runnings, the real guy.
Nice.
That was a great day. That was fun. She was great.
I was talking to Tina Gunn the other day. I was writing an article for her, and you're talking to greatness. When you look at the
unbelievable.
Numbers and what she did, and it was just like so many more points than Tyler and Jimmer and Danny.
Seriously.
It's amazing.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
Our question of the day, do you believe Taysom Hill will start another game at quarterback in the NFL? Logan SW12 on Instagram. I hope so, but I think it's unlikely. Teams value his gadget skills more than his QB skills. I think that's probably the case. He's going to have a lengthy NFL career. It's whether he's going to get a start at quarterback, and we'll see, like we talked about, whether there are any sustained injuries to Winston and Dalton. So we'll see. Our Elite Voice of the Day is presented by Sundance Mountain Resort. Bill Walton on Facebook. Like the Bill Walton or
Big
no?
Red?
Probably not. As long as he still gets to play, I'm happy to watch. Now I have one more reason to watch the Saints. Daniel Sorensen. So there you go.
All right.
One more reason.
That is another reason.
Today's Rise and Shoutouts presented by Mountain America, the official credit union of BYU Athletics. In case you missed it.
Yeah, defensive back D'Angelo Mandel and his partnership with Lifting Hands International as they've organized a diaper drive to go along with Thursday's alumni game. He wants you to hear this.
Everyone's lives are different, but for the most part, we got it better than them for the most part. So, like, seeing that they don't have everyday things like diapers, tents, clothes, stuff like that. So, in my head, I was like, well, we got a big BYU fan base, so let's just get some diapers going, and let's try to coordinate when we can do it. So we decided that we'd do it at the alumni game. Yeah, hey, y'all too. All y'all bring diapers too. I don't know what y'all doing Thursday at 6:30, but bring them diapers.
Hey, there's plenty of diapers with this demographic to be had. You don't even have to go to the store. They're just in the house.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, thanks to today's guests, David Nixon and Christopher Brooks.
Congrats, Peyton and Christine Wilgar, expecting their first in July.
Very nice.
The conversation continues 24/7 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Use the hashtag BYUSN.
This won't be their first time hosting kids from their Deep Blue story. For Dave, I'm Jarom. Shout out to Nancy Andrus. Go Cougs!